Well, we welcome you on behalf of the Comrade Governor to Edo State. And I'm aware that all of you will agree that from what you have seen pictorially and from what you will see on ground, if any of you came here with any Didymosian spirit, I have no doubt at all that you will go home believing that Edo State is really the heartbeat of the nation.
The Didymosian spirit. Remember him, don't you? That was Honorable Patrick Obahiagbon, the Chief of Staff, Edo Government House in Benin, joining his compatriots in welcoming the crack team of tax administrators from all over Nigeria to the 129th meeting of the Joint Tax Board, which was hosted by the Edo State Internal Revenue Service on behalf of the Edo State government. We will come back to Honorable Obahiagbon much later in the program for some grammar lessons. But for now, let us look at some of those matters that arose at the meeting, which helped in amplifying the theme of the meeting, which was imperatives of exchange of information among tax authorities. First, let's look at the team project. How are the minds of the tax authorities working with regard to taxpayer registration? A PIP, an expo to prepare you. My name is Olumuyiwa Matuloko, and this program is Tax Matters.
The main reason why TIN was conceived was for us to be able to identify our taxpayers countrywide and be able to share information about them that can assist us to improve our revenue collection. It was by no means a platform for revenue collection, but it was to assist us to improve our revenue collection. Because if you don't have information about a taxpayer, there is very little that you can do about that taxpayer. Nigerians have investment all over the country. If anybody comes to register his vehicle, register that taxpayer for TIN and register that vehicle as an asset for the taxpayer. Liaise with lands and survey. If anybody comes to register his land or building, register that taxpayer for TIN and register that land as his asset. If every state is doing that, we would have populated the assets of every taxpayer to the extent that if you now want to assess that taxpayer, because you would have had the aggregate of all the assets of that taxpayer available to you, you have an informed assessment of that taxpayer. And that is when we can now begin to talk of improvement on our revenue collection. If somebody comes for international passport, let that person register for TIN first. If somebody comes for a driver's license, it's already on the form of road safety, but it's not being implemented. Let them produce their TIN. Customs also need to help us for their E-Form M.
Mr. Kingsley Okengu, Director Tax Policy at the Federal Inland Revenue Service, made a presentation on exchange of information among tax authorities across the globe, which has made it imperative for state boards of internal revenue across Nigeria to collaborate and assist the competent authority, in this case, the Federal Inland Revenue Service. Mr. Okengu also spoke on efforts being made to amend the Stamp Duty Act.
Now, the other point I just want to touch briefly is the stamp duties redrafting. Now, on the 25th of November 2013, now we briefed you slightly on the progress we are making on stamp duties redrafting. Now already there are 3 phases to it. There is that guide to understanding the current Stamp Duties Act, and there is also the guide to producing guide, which will help your officers. Now 2 of these, the guide of producing guide and the guide to understanding the Stamp Duties Act that is presently in place, they are all through now. They are waiting, printing. The new draft itself is in process. By June this year, we are likely to come out with the final draft. We need to realize the fact that the Stamp Duties Act that we are using now is the 1939 Stamp Duties Act, which is colonial, which is a cake, which does not, flow with the modern tax structure.
1939. Did you hear that? Next was a presentation on efforts being made to bring operators in the informal sector into the ranks of good citizens. Presumptive tax, they call it all over the world. Draft presumptive tax regulations for Nigeria were presented at various fora in the year 2013, and flowing from that, more work has been done, which Mr. Peter Olayemi, Director, Medium Tax Department at the Federal Inland Revenue Service, presented at the meeting.
We have actually, grouped the states into 3 categories. Now, the primary objective of implementing this presumptive tax rate is to ensure that all the operators in the informal sector are properly brought into the tax net. Then any other further assessment work that we want to carry out can actually be done to confirm and determine exactly the correct categorization of a particular taxpayer.
Road taxes, driver's license, vehicle registration, new vehicle number plates, these are issues that all motorists or motor owners, if you like, are conversant with. And for these matters, the Federal Road Safety Commission is subject to the supervising authority, if you like, of the Joint Tax Board.
The progress made so far in respect of the ULS scheme, both the number plates and the driver's license that became operational, so far since the scheme started in 2011, 3.2 million number plates have been produced. We must commend this like Bayelsa, like Ogun, like Enugu and some other states. We've seen a lot of improvement in terms of uploading, even FCT now. We have the full database of FCT on the portal, and also the directive giving that the use of the fake licenses be referred to the Department of State Services. We have actually recorded breakthrough in respect of this, as all these cases have been referred, and we've seen a drop in these nefarious activities of Nigerians. Then presently, the number of driver's license workstations is 80, and as from next week, we are deploying equipment to 55 workstations. And so far, since the driver's license scheme commenced, we have 1.387 million applicants already on the database, and the number processed so far 1.009. And the good news now is that there's a cutover now to the main print farm, and with this, all these problems are being phased out now. Before we've started that this month, and by next month, I think no more backlog will occur once we clear this. Then the number of stolen vehicles reported is 34, and number of stolen vehicles detected attempting to re-register is 8. We must commend them in Cross River, the chairman of the Cross River, and one other state. That's the essence of the NVIS portal. If a vehicle is stolen, as long as it's to be re-registered in Nigeria, with the NVIS portal to be detected. And it's coming up now, and the police are beginning to enjoy this, because once the detection is done, it's now referred to the police. And the case of that in Calabar, the vehicle was stolen in Anambra. It was being attempted to re-register in Cross River. Once you put in the correct chassis number, it will prop up that this vehicle had been registered before. The same thing if a vehicle had been registered as a private vehicle and you now use government number plate to now register, or you've registered with government number plate and you want to re-register on the private number, it will pop up that the data is already in the data. That's the beauty of this. And the essence of this is it's able to enable each state to know how many vehicles are actually registered in the state, and as long as stolen vehicles are being attempted to register in Nigeria, they will be caught unless they take it out or they change the engine completely. But if the engine is not changed, such vehicles will be detected.
Tied to all this is the requirement that every vehicle on Nigerian roads must possess a valid insurance certificate.
An applicant applying for registration of vehicle must present a correct certificate of insurance. And with us there today, I think we have the representative of the DG of the Nigerian Insurance Association.
NIA is the Nigerian Insurance Association. NIA is the umbrella body for all insurance companies in Nigeria.
It's a very common knowledge that there are fake certificates all over being used all over the place by motorists, and that is why about 2 years ago we decided to computerize this operation. That is, for us to be able to certify or to detect these fake certificates. And that is what we have done by incepting a project called the Nigerian Insurance Industry Database. The Nigerian Insurance Industry Database is a centralized database of all insurances underwritten by NIA member companies. The essence or the advantage of information sharing can never be overemphasized, and we have been working with the Federal Road Safety and some of the state's motor vehicle administration agencies on how to make sure that this aspect of motor administration is enforced. We have these statistics of vehicles in the states. The total of the number of vehicles we had in Nigeria, 11 million vehicles and motorcycles and all those, only 2 million could be said to be genuinely insured. And that is why we want to appeal to the chairman to please assist us in this regard. How do they assist us? We want them to allow the genuine insurance companies within the premises of the, because we have so many touts operating in these places, and the insurance and the general public, once they get into the licensing offices, they don't know where to go to get the genuine insurance, and that is why the activities of the touts have been so prevalent in those places. We have devices that we have been giving to VIOs of some states, which they are using to check, but that is the secondary enforcement. But the primary enforcement is right from the state, from the licensing offices, and that is why we want to collaborate with the state chairman.
The request of the NIA generated heated arguments from among the participants.
I think the insurance company or the insurance workforce, they need to go and work on their integrity. The group, these people came to my office under this association, and they accused my staff of selling fake insurance documents. That's around 5 o'clock. Immediately when they left, I deployed SSS immediately to man that place overnight, and I arrested the same set of people that came to report my staff. What happened was so simple. They are sending genuine insurance cover. They equally have fake insurance cover. They gave the fake insurance cover to my staff, and they were selling, and they had problem with sharing. The agreement broke down. They have fake number plate, they have fake driver license, they have original of their company insurance, and they have 200 times double the original fake that they are selling. I arrested the kingpin, and I tell you we are still in court.
They have to, just like somebody said, call their staff to order, because touting is found amongst the insurance group. They sell plates and number plates, the fake ones, so they sell vehicle licenses, fake ones, driver's license they sell. So they should call their staff to order. While we are working to cleanse the system, let them equally help us.
And let me say, the major challenge they face is that a lot of the insurance companies have not invested in the ICT technology that is required for them to have a direct linkage to their central system in Abuja. And therefore, it becomes impossible for some of them to be able to register and generate the PIN that is required for the processing of number plates. So out of all the insurance companies, just about 3, because I'm taking pains to study them, that can actually process and generate that PIN that is required. So all what we have said is that just like people go to bank to pay money and bring the teller, you go to any insurance company, bring the PIN with your form that your application you've done, and we upload it. But we cannot allow you use our premises and now become kingpins of touting, because that is the biggest challenge. We generate the minimum revenue from it, but it has the biggest image damage for us. I will not subscribe that we allow our premises to be used by insurance agents for this reason. Thank you.
What do you say to all that? Definitely a lot of cleansing needs to be done.
Every day, my people they for work. Some they do office work. Some get it them own business. So all of them want good road, constant power for better life. Whether now office work, oh yeah, pay your tax. Whether now your own business, oh pay your tax. If you want a better life, oh pay your tax. Now your civic responsibility, pay your tax. Better soup, now money cook oh yes. Nothing goes for nothing, my brother. If you want potable water, security and hospital for make life jolly.
That's right. Good roads, good hospitals, portable water, adequate security all come from taxpayers' money. Play your part in making Nigeria great. Everybody, small scale, big companies, entrepreneurs, do the right thing. Pay your tax. This message is from the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
Welcome back. We're telling you the story of the 129th meeting of the Joint Tax Board, which was held in Benin, Edo State, from Wednesday the 23rd to Thursday the 24th of April 2014. As part of activities at the 2-day meeting, participants began by paying a courtesy visit to Government House in Benin, Edo State, where the Deputy Governor, Dr. Pius Odubu, received the delegates on behalf of the Comrade Governor, Governor Adams Oshomole.
Let me also appreciate you for choosing Edo State to host your 129th meeting. Your role in the economy of every state and indeed Nigeria can never be overemphasized. For any economy to thrive, the role of the IRS is a sine qua non. Edo State is a living testimony to this, because when we came on board in 2008, our IGRO was around the neighborhood of 250 to 300 million every month. But due to the political will provided by Mr. Governor and the doggedness of Chief Oseni Elama and his crew, at the point we got to 2.2 billion. But because of the reorganization that took place, we are around 1.4, 1.5 every month now. Indeed, we recognize here in Edo State, even though they call us one of those Niger Delta states, we are just marginal in that regard. We rely heavily on IGRO to meet our obligations to our citizenry. And if we must succeed, we must have an effective tax administration system. That is why we welcome wholeheartedly this initiative with the theme, imperative of exchange of information among tax authorities. There is the need to exchange ideas and information so that we have a seamless working relationship among the various states and indeed the Federation.
Both sides exchanged gifts before the participants proceeded to the formal opening ceremony, where again the Deputy Governor was on hand to formally declare the 129th meeting of the Joint Tax Board open on behalf of Governor Oshomole. Executive Chairman Edo State Internal Revenue Service was on hand to welcome participants with a speech which set the tone for the 2-day meeting.
The multiplicity of taxes and levies imposed on the taxpayer in various states continues to be a major disincentive to the growth of economies at the state and national level. The practice of several agencies of same government collecting taxes and levies on the same business is not healthy for the system. The imposition of taxes on the movement of goods, food and manufactured products as they are being transported through various local government and state also serve as a disincentive. Of course,
is the notorious unauthorized persons engaged in what is presumed to be taxes but indeed are made for extorting money to private pockets or in the name of revenue generation. Tax authorities therefore have a responsibility to ensure that tax administration at all levels of government is carried out in a transparent manner and in accordance with the statutory provision, so as to safeguard the integrity of the tax system.
Acting chairman of the Joint Tax Board, Alhaji Kabiru Mashi, for the opening time, reminded those at the opening ceremony what the JTB is and what it stands for. Alhaji Mashi also spoke about the relevance of the theme of the meeting.
Your Excellency, exchange of information holds the key to improving the ability of tax authorities to identify and register taxpayers, widen the taxpayer net, properly assess taxpayers, and ensure compliance. It also enables us to confront non-compliance, tax evasion, and other practices which lead to revenue leakage, with the ultimate aim of improving overall revenue generation. Tax authorities require direct support from the executive and legislature on this issue, and I want to use this opportunity to solicit the support of Your Excellency for any initiatives JTB will push through in this area.
The opening ceremony showed quite clearly the level of support enjoyed by the Edo State Internal Revenue Service from all and sundry in the state, as those in attendance at the opening ceremony cut across diverse sectors, including top notchers of the state judiciary, the bureaucracy led by the Chief of Staff, Edo State Government House, Honorable Patrick Obaigbon, and the legendary Dr. Sir Victor Uwaifu.
Welcome you on behalf of the Comrade Governor to Edo State. And I'm aware that all of you will agree that from what you have seen pictorially and from what you will see on ground, if any of you came here with any Didymosian spirit, I have no doubt at all that you will go home believing that Edo State is really the heartbeat of the nation. And Edo State is working, even though we are humble enough to admit that Edo State is still work in progress. If the Comrade Governor has achieved anything Gagatwan today, we are very, very happy and confident to announce that it had to do with the engineering efforts and very innovative and audacious efforts of the Board of Internal Revenue. In Edo State, the chairman of the Board of Internal Revenue and his team take no prisoners. As far as they are concerned, no friends, no foe. They've discharged their onus probandi in a very diaphanous manner, and in doing this, they can stand before a demagogue and damn his treacherous flatteries. I make bold to say they have been sun-crowned. They have been above 12 feet tall in the discharge of these responsibilities, and it is only humbling enough to partly attribute the achievements of the Comrade Governor to their very pioneering, very courageous, very intrepid efforts. It is therefore my privilege and honor on behalf of the Comrade Governor to identify with all of you today in this your peregrination to Edo State.
Next port of call was the palace of the highly revered paramount ruler of Benin Kingdom, His Royal Majesty Oba Eredua, CFR. Oba Eredua, ably supported by his chiefs, warmly received the visitors. We recall that this is the second time in almost 14 years that Oba Eredua will be hosting the Joint Task Board in his palace. In June 2001, the Edo State government hosted the 97th quarterly meeting of the Joint Task Board, and the participants visited the Oba of Benin. From the palace, members of the Joint Task Board proceeded on a tour of projects executed with taxpayers' money in Edo State, most prominent of which is the Benin Stormwater Project. We conclude this episode of Tax Matters and bid you goodbye with the help of Honorable Patrick Obaheagbon.
I pray that the great geometrician of the universe lead you back to your domicile very, very safely from the terminus at Ko to the terminus at Queen.
See you next week.